Again, greetings from Costa Rica. I'm recording this outside, so maybe you can get a little bit of a taste of the jungle sounds while I do this intro. Even though if you're watching this on YouTube, which I hope you are, I'm going to be a little bit backlit. So this is a unique episode. I approached Kelly Casperson a couple months ago and said, I want men to have a single go-to recording that they can come back to and return to and share with each other about what do you do when your wife is going through menopause? And you may ask, like, why does a man in a men's movement give a shit about menopause? And I give a shit about menopause because a lot of people get divorced at this stage of the game. And a lot of women leave marriages because they don't feel supported. A lot of men leave marriages because they don't know who the person is that they're married to. And there's not information. There's not information for women, and there's certainly not information for men. So Kelly and I sit down in this episode. What we're doing is creating a single piece of content that she will share on her platform, and I will share with you all here. And as always, this episode is brought to you by the UNcivilized Nation. If you are a man and you are looking for the best training ground on how to be a powerful, potent, integrated, relational, emotionally intelligent man in 2026, please go to manuncivilized.com/the nation and check us out. All right, without further ado, myself and Dr. Kelly Casperson. Enjoy.
Hey,
Dr. Casperson.
When two podcasters try to lead, it's like, no, you lead. You do the handshake.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. I'm
Dr.
not editing
Casperson.
that out. That's staying in.
Okay, this is all staying in.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. My name is Traver Boehm. This is Dr. Kelly Casperson. We are coming together to talk about men and menopause. Because
Perfect.
menopause is often a challenging conversation for everybody. But a lot of men that I've talked to in the last couple of years don't know how to react when it happens in their relationship. And Dr. Casperson here is the foremost expert author, podcaster, hair model in this subject. And so she has more to say than anybody I know. And so Kelly, Dr. Casperson, would you like to introduce yourself to my audience who's listening to this?
Yeah. Thank you to everybody who's joining us, wherever you've come from. Welcome. You've found yourself here for one reason or another. So buckle up. I'm a urologist, and I always say I give men testosterone and Viagra every day. And then about 7 years into my career, I was like, hold on, who's taking care of the women? And then I was like, hold on, 90% of men are heterosexual. You want to do something with that super dick we're giving you, right? Like, so have you talked to your partner about it? And I thought like it was going to be the minority that hadn't talked to their partner about it. It's like when guys come in and they get testosterone and Viagra, and I'm like, what's your plan? What's your plan with this? And very few talked to their partner that they were even going to the doctor to discuss this. So it was like the insight of like, oh, I was just thinking everybody was like talking about why they were going to the doctor today, but no. So everybody needs to get involved. My question for you, because I was doing a live radio show earlier today, and like the men did not, they're like, yeah, we don't know anything, but they were backing away from the conversation. Like, and one actually had insight on it. One was like, isn't it so weird that like people think women's health things are like off limits or taboo? Like, he's like, that's really weird. So he like had insight into his own behavior of being like stepping away from this conversation.
Sure. So are you asking like, are men interested?
My question is, why back away from this?
Oh boy. I think first and foremost, men are taught that women's sexual health issues are gross.
Like they're gooey?
Periods are gross. I don't want to know what's going on down there. There's a whole bunch of stuff that isn't for my pleasure. So that's the weird shit. Let me just take a week and a half off every month and pretend that it doesn't exist.
But they pop the hood of a car and like stick their head under the car and look at the motor like all the time.
Yeah.
Like women's bodies are Ferraris. By the way, we create life.
It's
pretty fascinating. It's pretty fascinating.
Zero argument from me here. I think it's cultural that we say like, you know, when she has her period, it's time for you to step away, or it's not your issue. And I've only seen in the last couple of years that men would ask to have like a tracking app of their women's cycle on their phone, that this actually plays into the behavior. I think culturally we've just said like, it is something that needs to be completely removed from the male conversation, even from the female conversation a lot.
You're
I
not
think
wrong.
I told you when I was an acupuncture intern, I would say to a lot of my female patients, do you know you're getting your period next week? And they'd be like, no. And I'm like, I'm a 30-year-old cage fighting meathead, and I know when you're getting your period. How do you not know when you're getting your period? Like, we just
Wait, how
don't
did you
track
know
it.
they were getting their period?
Because they told me 6 weeks ago when their cycle was and how many days it was. And so I have a chart in front of me.
Okay. I was thinking there was some like ear meridian that vibrated a certain way or something that like we don't know about.
I wish I could just like lean in and look.
I'm like
oh, you're 3
was
days
her
away.
aura extra purple? Like,
yeah.
how do you know?
It was in the chart. Right. It was in the chart.
And not astrological chart.
Right.
Just to be clear. I mean, it's interesting because so many people are like, oh, I'd never ask my boyfriend or my husband or my partner to go buy tampons or pads. And I'm like, but that's like everybody's like, this is a normal part of life. You can't even like buy the product. Like everybody, the checkout person knows they're not for you, bro. Like
I would frame this all truthfully around relational maturity. That a grown ass adult wants to know where his partner's cycle is, buys any of the tampons, pads, anything that she needs because he's an adult. He understands that menopause is coming because he's an adult. Same thing, she will understand the changes in his body as he gets older because she's an adult. But I think emotionally, we have a lot of, again, if you're a 13-year-old boy hearing about periods and go, ew, that's gross.
And you never evolve.
I'll give you a little bit of leeway. Now, if you don't evolve as a 38-year-old man, 50-year-old man, then this is the answer to your question. You know, I don't know if I ever told you this. I had ChatGPT, since we were talking about AI a second ago, assess the emotional maturity of my Instagram following, and it put it somewhere around 12 or 14.
Please hold.
Now, my Instagram following, I know factually, is 35 to 55. But it was basing it off comments that it could read. So anyway, culturally, when it comes to women's health, I'd say specifically both genders, but especially, or the two main genders and men specifically, are vastly immature.
I saw this meme and it was a man, I think, asking other men like, bro, my girl said that she needed $800 for her pads and her tampons. Is that right? Right. And like the comments were so good. And the comments were basically like, yeah, no, my girlfriends are twice that much. Like your girlfriends, that's cheap, blah, 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 blah. And basically just like the comments were so gold on being like, oh yeah, she's a keeper. Like keep her because that is a great deal per month. And like, Lord knows if you ever bought tampons, they're not $800 a month. Right. But like, it just was on so many levels showing how they have no idea.
Yeah.
What these things even cost and blah, blah, blah. And then people being like, oh yeah, no, keep her. That's a good idea.
Yeah. We as the male culture or men, it is time for us to be involved and engage in women's sexual health beyond the word sex. That's where we're stumbling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm super interested in that.
I'm super hung up on this like lack of curiosity. Like I am desperately curious. Like, God, I just want to walk around in a male brain for a week. Like I just want to do it. I'm desperately curious about what is happening in that male brain.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, God, really? Like, because the lack of curiosity can come across like not caring.
Fully. I believe that. Yeah. I see that.
And I think, again, desperately women want their partners to care.
There's a lack of curiosity and there's a lack of inspiration for curiosity. So if your whole life you're told, like, don't worry about that, don't be curious about that, then I can see the trail that would lead to a lack of curiosity. But I will also say there is a shift. I did a workshop 2 years ago in the Dominican, and it was half men, half women. And on one of the nights we said, guys, you're going to go talk to the female facilitators. Women, you're going to talk to us male facilitators. You can ask any questions that you want. And at the end of the night, the facilitators got back together and we said, what were the questions? And for the men, what we were asked was, why did my ex-boyfriend do X? That was all of the questions. And the women said they grilled us on periods, does penis size matter, pleasure, turn on, menstrual, hormones, what happens at this phase of your period. And we were all like, this is awesome. There's been some shift. So it's entering into the collective, but I think it's entering very slowly. That's why I wanted to have this conversation.
I love it. So people are here. They're ready to learn. Let's take it away.
Okay. I think I said on the stage with you in Chicago that I view this as an initiation for women. And thus I view being a partner to someone as having an initiation, menopause, as an initiation for themselves. I'm curious, before we dive into the biology and hormones and all the things, does that language resonate with you?
Oh, well, wonderfully well. To the point of like, I don't think I can name it any better. And it's profound changes. And to some people, they don't feel anything. You know, there's some people who are like, man, I don't remember. Like nothing happened. And some people will be like, my entire world is rocked. Everything I thought I knew, I don't know anymore. Right. And there is this, for many, not all, there's a spiritual journey that goes with this. I describe it, and this again, perimenopause, menopause, and we can get into the definition. So, because we got to all know what we're talking about, but like there's a tunnel, and sometimes being in the tunnel sucks. And you know, you're in a tunnel. You're like, I'm kind of in a shitty tunnel right now. I don't feel like myself. I hope I don't stay here forever. Like I am in a tunnel. And the women who get through to the other side of the tunnel, they're like, that sucked. Super glad I went through that tunnel though. Wouldn't go back. Love where I am. So thinking of it as a journey, an experience, a transformation, whatever it is, of like very similar, and we'll get again getting into the biology, very similar to going through puberty, right? Like you will never be 8 years old again, or pregnancy. You will never be somebody who didn't have a baby again. Right? Like these, and to think of it like women, I mean, everybody goes through puberty. Women go through pregnancy, not all women, but women go through pregnancy. Of like, there are tunnels we've gone through before. Because I think some things that hurt this menopause transition is people being like, why do people have to change? Why do you have to change? Why does this have to be something? Why do we have to make this a thing? Right. And you're like, well, puberty is a thing. Pregnancy is a thing. Right. Like there's other things that like are irreversible and natural. And many people experience, right? And so I think we get a little petulant and petty when we're like, why does this have to be a thing? It's like, we don't ask puberty why it's a thing. It's just a thing. Like, so it's not a belief system. It's not Santa Claus. It is a thing. But just because we didn't talk about this thing for generations or decades doesn't make it less real now that we're talking about it.
Yeah. And since we're speaking to men, you have been through initiations. Any of the fathers listening to this know, as Kelly just said, you can't go back and be the guy who didn't have a kid. You can't go back and be prepubescent. If you went through the military or you went through a divorce, you can't go back and be the same guy you were beforehand. That is what your partner is going through. And there's an opportunity, I believe, having been in partnership with people who have gone through initiations, to go through an initiation with them. But it is a separate initiation. It is one that is for you, where all that is true the day before or the week before or the month before will no longer be true. And as Dr. Casperson just described, there is transformation, there is growth. And for a lot of men, because your biology isn't changing at the same rate as your partner's, this is a spiritual journey. And when you get to take it on like that, one, it gives you a lot more tools and relatability, but it also makes it that the other side of it can be exponentially more beautiful than the life you're living right now. And like the tunnel, it's going to feel like you're falling down a couple flights of stairs. So hang on.
Yeah,
we want this conversation to be where you can come and as a resource over and over and over to understand what's happening. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Yeah, well, and some of this might resonate and some of it might not resonate, and it might resonate later in life, you know, and I think the other people are like, well, how long does this tunnel last? Right? Like, can you tell me this will be done on Tuesday? We're like, no, that is part of the journey. Is everybody's got a different length tunnel with a different level of darkness in the tunnel. Right. And so like it is to say it needs to go a certain way or it's expected to go a certain way, like, understand that's not, we're not all Toyotas. We didn't come out of the same factory, right? We've all got our own journey to lead. Yeah. So, and I think some people, especially people who like things a little bit more engineering wise and ones and zeros of like, just tell me when this is done. Is it 52? Right. Of like, maybe, right. But buckle up, know that it's real. Yeah. And know that you can be profoundly influential, whether that's good or bad, influential.
Beautiful. The last thing I'll say about initiation before we dive into the biology is, in order for it to be truly effective, which you actually want it to be, it has to be longer than you want it to be. You have to get to a point where you can't just white knuckle this and be like, cool, she said on the podcast, it's 7 weeks. I can just take a breath or drink my way through this
or zone out
and it'll happen. It's going to take a lot longer than you want it to. But on some level, if you believe in transformation and spiritual growth, you actually want it to take longer than you hope it does. Okay. Can we dive into the body?
Please. For
guys listening, what is happening with her?
Yes. So
can we first define the terms, Kelly? Yep. What's the difference between perimenopause and menopause?
Yep. Dude, somebody was so funny. They're like, I just thought perimenopause was how the British people said the word menopause.
Wait, that's not true.
So good.
How many times in your career do you just go, oh?
Like, life is a journey of fascinating experiences.
Such a polite answer.
You're just like, that's not how the British say the word menopause. But so peri means surrounding. So perimenopause means surrounding menopause. Menopause is a word made up centuries ago by a male physician who basically means the end of periods, or the pause, the cessation of periods. Now, gotcha. Hundreds of years ago, all we could see were the gross observable things. There were no microscopes. There were no hormones. We couldn't look inside a human body, let alone with a microscope. So all we had was gross observations of the world, right? And so women after a certain age would not have periods anymore. And so that's where this word came from, is no more periods. The problem with the word menopause is it doesn't tell you why it's happening. And it certainly doesn't tell you that stuff before the no ending periods is consequential, right? So we really put this big word on this event, which once you actually learn what's going on is kind of arbitrary and meaningless. But if you understand the historical context of all we had was like the big observable things, okay, that's why no periods is a word in healthcare. So you actually need a very small amount of hormones to have a period. Ovaries make hormones, testicles make hormones, adrenal glands make hormones, and then what we call end tissues. So like brain makes a little bit of hormones, muscle makes a little bit of hormones, but your big hormone creators, brain, adrenal glands, testicles, ovaries. So ovaries are small almond-shaped organs. They're very similar to testicles, but they're smaller and they're on the inside. So the size of the ovary is dependent upon the size of the mammal. So elephants have very big ovaries, hummingbirds, squirrels, very small ovaries, and there's only so many follicles or packets in the ovary. A packet is released every month. It creates hormones, and there's an egg. Okay. After a certain amount of years, you're out of packets. Now, in America, in 1900, average life expectancy was 47. Wow. And people will say, oh, it's because of infant mortality. No, it's because we didn't have antibiotics. The majority of people died of infections. We didn't have intensive care units, trauma bays, any cancer care, like clean water, right? We had nothing in the 1900s. And so and for centuries and millennia of human existence, life was short and hard, and there were no antibiotics, and most people died of blunt trauma or infections. Average age of menopause, 51. So some women lived longer than their ovaries, but on average, people didn't live much longer than their ovaries. And it's very important because people are like, why are ovaries so shitty? Right? Like, why do they crap out halfway through? And you're like, halfway through is actually like exceptional. Right? Like 81 is 40 being halfway done. 40 used to be the end, my friend. 40 used to be the end, and now it's halfway. That's exceptional trauma care, medical care, sanitation, clean water, all the things. And I really want to reframe it because people get a little pouty when they're like, why does the ovary have to crap out? And you're like, no, humans used to crap out at this age.
Yeah.
Like the amount of packets were designed for the size of the human, and humans, because of the size of the human, usually made it about 40 to 50 years. So that's all important though, because we tend to dismiss this, or we tend to say it's some sort of design flaw. But we don't do that with hearing aids and teeth and eyes and hips and heart valves and tumors. Like we don't go around being like, well, your tumor's natural. Like just suffering, I guess, is the plan now. Right? Like we don't say that with anything else. And you can see the immense bias towards the ovary being done. Cause we're like, well, guess there's nothing to do. And you're like, we don't tell people when you lose a tooth, like there's nothing to do.
Yeah, right.
You know? So like, that's just a very important part of this education is number one, this is us outliving hormone production.
Okay.
Number two, hormones affect every single cell in the body. Hormones are teeny tiny little molecules that move around the body to communicate. And I always say hormones help healthy cells stay healthy. Hormones aren't very good at treating disease, but they're very good. They help mitochondria. They help nerve function. They help muscle. They help bone. They help skin, collagen, blood flow, clitoral artery, blood flow, right? Erections. This is all hormones. And so hormones are profoundly important. And what we've done now, because we've extended life expectancy to 80, 84, is we now outlive ovarian hormone production. So that's what's actually happening. But we call it menopause, which means no more periods. But the no more periods is happening because of profoundly low hormones. And so we say, well, how low are we talking about? Some women, you'll check their hormones and they will have zero. There's zero. And estrogen, as a means of comparison, when you're pregnant, is in the 3000s. When you're having a period, is it anywhere from 300 to 500? This is American values. And men have estrogen of around 30 to 40. So women, after menopause, your hormones are so low that you don't have a period anymore, but your estrogen's actually lower than that of a man. And then men are like, men have estrogen? Yes, actually, estrogen's profoundly important for men's sex drive. So everybody has all the hormones, just in different combinations and amounts, but hormones go profoundly low, lower than a man's estradiol after menopause. So that's the long everything. But it helps people understand, like, why is this a big deal?
Yeah.
And my big metaphor for men, and it's, you know, some men are like, oh, I get it now. And some men are like, oh, it's kind of disgusting. But it's like, take your testicles, remove them slowly over time, and then just be like, you're fine, right? Are you fine?
Yeah.
You're fine, right?
I'm not fine with that sentence.
Your dad did fine. Why can't you do fine? Right? Like it's just natural to outlive your testicles. And how I say it is like some men's testicles, you outlive your testicle production of testosterone. We give you testosterone. There's actually over a dozen different formulations of testosterone on the market for men who outlive their testicular function. So I think truly if this life expectancy thing keeps going on, if we're looking at 100, 110, 120, if we keep living longer and longer, many, many more men will be outliving their testicle function as well.
For sure.
So I just like to normalize it because they're always like, it only happens to women. Of like, yes, it happens less frequently to men, but we have over a dozen FDA approved products that insurance pays for men who outlive their testicle function. Less normal.
And if you think it's just happening to women, guys listening, ask how many of your friends are on TRT. And I'm talking about guys. I remember, I mean, it was big in the jiu-jitsu community. That's a whole nother conversation when it was like 25-year-olds on TRT. But at 50, I know a bunch of people who are on it. And very few of them are like, oh man, this is it. I'm done. I'm worthless. And they're like, no, I just went to the doctor. I get a shot in my ass twice a week and everything's back to being awesome.
Yep.
So is it a shame element? If we talk real quick about Is it dismissal? Is it dismissive? Like, what can we say to men here that is in the collective that we don't want them to plug into about the psycho-emotional aspect of what their partner's going through? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's real. That it's real. I mean, I think if we could truly see ovaries and watch them get smaller, we would have a better grasp on this. Like, we can look at testicles. If your testicle was smaller, you would notice.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like, it is something that you can't see hormones, you can't see ovaries. So there is a layer of like, is it real? But it's very real, very validating, and very common. Because I think so many people are like, I'm the only one going through this. My partner is the only one going through this, X, Y, and Z. No. Universal situation. We're getting to the point, and I completely blame Gen X for this. Gen X is like, dudes, like, this is happening. Like, Gen X has just had this energy of the shared, like, wow, why is there no support for this thing? Like, 50% of the humans go through this. It's insane. Short plug for the M Factor 2.0 documentary and the M Factor 1.0 documentary. These are PBS documentaries. That the menopause one came out about 2 years ago. The 2.0, it's the prequel, because it's about perimenopause.
Gotcha.
It's released in March 2026 on PBS. So they actually have men's groups in the second documentary. And so they have a scene of like 5 guys sitting around and talking about menopause. And they were, what is expressed in the film is their relief to know it wasn't them. And the way they talk about it is like, they're like, turns out it wasn't me. I wasn't the problem. And it actually wasn't her either.
Yeah.
It was this health thing that she was going through, and she needed support. And it was like, what could have broken them? The knowledge and the advocacy and the support of the community and each other. They were like, no, we're good now. But for a while, like, I thought this was all my fault. We thought it was all her fault, like blah, 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 instead of being like, oh, this was like a tunnel we were going through.
Gotcha. I love the tunnel analogy. Is there any point we have to add to the person listening to this who still is like, nah, yeah, she's a doctor talking about, like, is this really real? Is there like anything else we need to do to belabor that point that this is actually not made up, psychosomatic, just a means of control or manipulation, that like it is literally, like, you wouldn't say to your 12-year-old, I think you're faking your
puberty
voice dropping.
Right.
And
and like, for a lot of pregnancy, you can't see that the person's pregnant. Sure. That doesn't make them not pregnant. Right. Okay. Right. Like, it's like, there's a lot that you don't take a person who's diabetic and be like, yeah, I'm not sure about that. I can't see your diabetes. So like, it's not real. And so it's almost like somebody's inability to think it's real is almost a sign of being dismissive, because we don't do that. Like, I don't see your depression, Traver. Like, you sure it's real? Yeah. Like, you gotta take your word for it on some things, and, read the books and blah, 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 blah. And I always encourage, like, you don't have to take my word for it. There's tons of books about this. Yeah. So, and not to confuse that with the lack of support in the medical community, because doctors didn't get trained on this for about 20 years because of the Women's Health Initiative in 2002. And so don't confuse like a doctor's inability to help with it not being real. Gotcha.
That's a great point to say. Can you give me, again, just street level, I'm a guy, my wife is going through changes. What is the difference between peri and menopause? I know you gave the definition, but how would I know which one is happening, or the difference between the two?
I mean, the truth is, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Like, no periods after a year is a symptom of low hormones. So like saying like the symptom means it's a thing or not a thing, it's irrelevant really. The treatment is hormones. You can start those in perimenopause. So truthfully, it doesn't matter what she's going through. And a third of women will not have periods that end. Uterine ablations, hysterectomies, IUDs, birth control, right? So like, again, it's a crappy definition because it doesn't even apply to all women. And the definition is a symptom of what's going on. And I mean, an actual better word for it would be secondary female hypogonadism. That's very medical of me. But basically being like, she had hormones and now she doesn't. Right. Like, that's actually what's happening.
Okay. I don't know if that phrase is going to catch on.
It's not going to catch on.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why we dumb it down and we call it menopause.
Can you talk about some of the symptoms that are super common, that are often perhaps misinterpreted by male partners?
Yeah.
Because a lack of a period, or a woman not having a period, I don't think is a lot of conversation, or like, hey, you and I need to sit down. I don't think you've had your period for 3 months. Something's going on here.
Yeah, totally. So one of the most common symptoms, which is profoundly important, but quite subjective, so that's why it irritates people, not feeling like myself, or NFLM. Not feeling like myself. Now, that's a frustrating thing, because, like, how do I know Traver doesn't feel like Traver today? Right? I have to take his word for it.
Right.
Like, I can't x-ray you. There's no lab value. Right? Yeah. Like, so you have to take people's word for it, and women tend to be dismissed frequently of like, what you're feeling real? You know, but not feeling like myself is 60 to 80% of women in perimenopause. Why is that? Because hormones profoundly affect the brain, and the mitochondria, and dopamine, and serotonin, and all the things that make Kelly feel like Kelly, all of a sudden is not firing and wiring correctly. And so it's a very, again, vague, it's hard to put your thumb on, but women know, I mean, men know, like everybody every once in a while has a, like, I just not feel like myself today. And the best thing about getting treatment for perimenopause and menopause, which is just replacing the hormones that you're outliving, right, is people coming back and being like, I feel like myself again. Like that's the job I have. My job is making women feel like themselves again, and men who have low testosterone.
For sure.
That's the best thing ever. Right. But it's like, I can't measure it, but they know when they're back. You know, Susie feels like Susie again. Great. Nailed it. Awesome.
Yeah. And just so guys listening to this, is it that exact languaging? So if you're in a little bit of detective work as a male partner, do women say, I just don't feel like myself?
Yes. They'll say that very specifically thing. I just don't feel like myself. Something's off. Okay.
So that's a flag for a curious male partner, or a partner then to get curious. I want to go into a little bit, perhaps later in the conversation, of what are some of the approaches you've seen that have been successful versus what are approaches that are not successful. But I'm also curious, are there other symptoms that you would say are in the top 3? So not feeling like myself.
Not feeling like myself.
What are the next 2?
Sleep issues, huge, like 60% of people, perimenopause, menopause. Anxiety,
Can we go back to sleep?
Yep.
They sleep too much. They don't sleep. They wake up multiple times.
Exhausted during the day, can't sleep at night.
Okay.
Awful. You need hormones to sleep, turns out. Not everybody, right? Again, I always will overgeneralize. This is always the not everybody category. Yeah. But low estrogen, low progesterone, low testosterone can really mess with people's sleep. So
exhausted during the day, can't sleep at night. And then the third one you were saying was anxiety.
Yeah.
And how does that present? Like, what does a woman say to her partner that
they just know? They're just like, I am anxious all of a sudden. Like, like just kind of this like edgy thing, or like reactive, or like nervous, or we used to be like, dude, I was chill. Yeah, I would never had anxiety before, and it's just this like feeling of like edginess. Yeah. And it's quite unpleasant for anybody who's had it. And I think it's dismissed a lot because, you know, everybody's got anxiety in America. Have you seen The World? Right. Sure, but it's really like this feeling of like, this is not how I used to be though. Like, or it can be things get worse. Like my ADHD gets worse, or like, you know, things where you were like, I had all this under control, but I just can't now. Like the wheels are coming off. I can't keep it together anymore. So those are other signs.
Okay. Is it fair to ask an age range here when this, like, if my 22-year-old partner says like, I just don't feel like myself, I'm probably going to ask different questions than if a 45-year-old partner.
Yeah.
I
So
know that's probably a long range, but
it's a
what's the
huge
range here?
range. It's a huge
Yeah.
range. So average age of menopause in America is 51. So that means average. That means 50% of people have menopause before 51.
Yep.
And then 50% of people have menopause after 51. Right.
Yep.
So you're like, it happens when you're 51. No. That's that's what average means. It doesn't mean it happens at 51. So, and then perimenopause can be up to 10 years before. So let's say, you know, if you went through menopause at 45, mid 30s is when perimenopause can start happening. Now, going back to the 22-year-old, I met a woman on my book tour. She went into menopause at 19.
Wow.
And that is significant premature ovarian insufficiency. That's very rare,
Yeah.
but it happens. And I think what happens a lot, you know, this is my joke, is women are two ages when they go to the doctor: too young for something or too old for something. So you better go to the doctor on the right day, damn it.
Right. Just at 51.
Yeah. Specifically in February when you're 51, the February of 51. So there's a lot of dismissal of you're too old for that, you're too young for that, blah, 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 blah. When the truth is we're talking decades here, mid 30s to 60. Like some women have periods until they're like 58, 60. So it's hard to get pregnant, but they still have periods.
Okay. Beautiful. I want to shift this now to a bit of, again, if we're coming back to I want men listening to this and men having sort of an action step or an understanding of what's happening. How are men getting this wrong? How are they interpreting these signs, or in your experience, taking what is a biological set of evidence and internalizing it as a relational set of evidence, or even a personal set of evidence of there's something wrong with me, or there's something wrong with her that isn't biological? How are you seeing this conversation mishandled commonly?
I don't care. Just deal with it. That it's a behavioral issue, like that it's in your head instead of in your ovaries, right? Like, that there's a right way to deal with this. That you just need to like white knuckle it.
Yeah.
Some people will make jokes and be funny about it. It's not funny. I don't make fun of you about your diabetes and your depression. Like, it's not funny. But coping mechanisms, I get it.
Okay.
Not caring. And the other thing I would just add, just to wrap up the cornucopia of issues I've seen people do with it, is like the whole, like, that's like, it's not real. There's only one way to deal with this. Or men will be like, I don't want to change. You're changing. I don't want to change. That I don't, that's, you solve that, Traver, you'll be a effing billionaire. Because women are like, I am. Like, I just, like, you can't go through the portal and not be a parent anymore. You can't go through the portal and not be in puberty. And so many men are like, I don't want to change. I need something to be just like, I liked the way it was. And she's changing, and like, men just want her to be like them and not change. And it's like, well, she's changing though.
For sure.
And so like, that is really hard. I mean, if you have any advice for that, please tell them, because I think everybody's very frustrated with that duality.
I think the nature of relationship is evolution, period. If you do not want to be in an evolutionary process where you're a transformational process, then opt out of relationship. This is what I would tell men. If you are opting into relationship, marriage, partnership, boyfriend, girlfriend, then you are opting into an evolutionary and transformational thing. Just like I would not get on a train that is moving from east to west and then be pissed that it's moving from east to west. I would stay on the station and not get in it. So every single guy listening to this, if you are in relationship, you are in an evolutionary process. Now you can choose to join the evolutionary process and go through what will probably be hard, which is by nature change. But you will also come out on the other side having a radically different understanding of yourself, of intimacy, of biology, and I would say of the world, because you've actually been in a container and a partner to one of the most fascinating experience there is on earth, which is someone going through an initiation. It is a wild thing to partner with, right? Anybody who's been with someone who's gotten pregnant and then had a kid, like you've been a part of, you know how many men I know, Kelly, that are like, I see my wife radically differently because I watched her give birth. And they will literally just like, I cannot believe the magic. I saw God coming through her. Why were you with her before? She was hot. Like, that's great. Super glad that how
Super
about
glad
now?
you had that experience.
Yeah. Now she's God. See, now that's the process that we're trying to get you to go through here.
Yeah.
I think guys we have to let go of control. First of all, we have to be willing to evolve. We can go into a whole nother side conversation of what is happening in the world and what is happening with relationship. Is the call from life and the call from the feminine is men need to evolve in consciousness, and we are stuck. We're rigid. We're grasping and holding on.
The other thing I would add to that is like men seeing men as the default. And society sees men as the default, right?
Sure,
like women also will see men as the default. And that women are somehow like other instead of equal and opposite. Maybe not even opposite, but equal but different, right?
Equal but different. Yeah.
So it's just like, dude, stop thinking your experience is the default.
Right.
50% of the world isn't you. So stop thinking you are the default.
Yeah.
Because there's a world of opportunity to learn when you're like, oh, you mean it's like a whole different world over there? Yeah, it's a whole different world over here. Stop trying to make us you. We're not you.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That I can feel as a guy how there has been a leap that I've had to take to go, oh, there's a whole nother thing happening with this person in partnership. How she relates to the world, how she relates to her body, how she relates to sex, how she relates to food, how she relates to life is completely different
Totally different
than how I do. Now, I don't want to live that way, and I don't think I would do well living that way. Yet, having just gotten to experience it through female partners, it has opened up an entire other part of being human to me. An absolutely magical, wonderful part of being human. And I hope that's why every single guy listening to this believes they're here on earth, is to feel and experience the breadth of life, not just your one little lane where everything's cool and you don't have to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, like everything's fine. Why can't you be? Like, ugh.
Can we just name the podcast? Everything's fine. Why can't you be? If I can circle us back super quick, I think of 3 male archetypes, Kelly, the most common male archetypes that are perhaps, let's say, unconscious. You have your 1950s Marlboro Man, your sensitive new age kind of nice guy, and then now in 2026, a man who's just completely collapsed. And so I'd love if you would share a little bit, and I'll give you kind of the setup for each one of how they react and what they can possibly do that's a little bit different.
Okay, perfect.
So your 1950s Marlboro is most of our fathers or grandfathers, which is very individualistic, very stoic, very unemotional, and I will just say this, ashamed of and afraid of any part of themselves that feels feminine, because then it appears weak. So I would view this archetype as the guy that says to his female partner, like, you just got to fucking get over this. Like, you got to buck up and get through this and stop making it influence my life at all negatively. It's someone who's very disconnected, shut off, and shut down. So in your experience, have you worked with partners of that man, of that archetype? And if so, what has helped soften them or bridge that? What languaging can we give them about what's actually happening?
I don't think it always goes well.
It doesn't go well.
It doesn't go well. You know
why we're
this.
recording this.
You know that. You know this too. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of what we call stonewalling behavior, whereas and it can often look like the woman being like, he just does not listen. It's like, I say words, They don't go in his head. Like, he does not listen, or stonewalling of like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I see this with sex a lot too. I don't want to talk about it. The woman's like, I want to change. We need to talk about this. I want it to be different. Blah, blah. He's like, I don't want to talk about it. And then they come to me and they're like, what should we do? And I'm like, therapy.
Yeah.
And they're like, but couldn't testosterone help? And I'm like, no. Therapy. Okay. Like, when you get to the point where it's like you can't get through to somebody, I don't know a better answer than therapy. And then realizing, like, do you want to be in a relationship with somebody that you can't get through to? Like, that's what's on your plate.
Right.
And I think that's a hard pill to swallow. Because we want easy, quick answers, and we want everybody to come to the happy conclusion at the end of the tunnel. But it doesn't always work out. Okay. I think some people are just too fixed, like, in their way.
Yeah. Have you, in all with this archetype, I grew up with this. Like, this was a lot of my system. And when I had female partners who would almost invite me into the process, say, hey, you know, it'd be wonderful. I would love to have you on board as a teammate. I need your support. I need your strength. I need your logic. I need the things that guy is almost using as the stonewall, but I need it applied in a way that works relationally. Have you found that at all to be helpful?
I think the team dynamic is brilliant and works very well, because I think most people they understand, like, dude, teams are more powerful than the individuals, right? Because it's like, I've got some skill sets, you've got some skill sets, like, probably could come up with more solutions to the problem if there was more people who had their hands rolled, sleeves rolled up. So I think the we is so much better than I or you. Because, like, we're, at the end of the day, we're a team. We're a team. At the end of the day, we're a team. I might not like X, you might not like Y, but we're a team. How do we get through? I think it is a power move.
Beautiful. So for you guys listening who identify with that archetype, your teammate is suffering. And this is about her right now. So your teammate is suffering.
You've got a hurt goalie.
Yeah. Oh, Kelly. This is your $1 billion answer. Gentlemen, you've got a hurt goalie. Have you seen what happens when a goalie gets hit in a hockey game? The whole team is like, you do not touch the goalie. I've seen more fights on social media because someone nicked a goalie. Gentlemen, your goalie is hurt. Okay. Let's transition to the other side. I see also a lot of the sensitive new age kind of nice guys. And what I've heard from them is beautiful. This is all my problem now. I'm going to micromanage. I'm going to make sure it's constant. How are you? What can we do? And there's this smothering that seems like it happens, which is the reverse or the opposite of their side. Have you seen that? And what have you seen to be helpful with that community?
Yeah, I mean, it can get into a little codependency, right? Of, like, you're reinforcing the brokenness instead of, like, the journey part of it. And the resilience that is inherent within her. Like, we all need support.
Sure.
But we don't all need somebody else to handle it for us. All the time.
Ooh, that's a beautiful
Sometimes,
side.
yes. All the time, probably not. Right. And then there you get into this role of, like, being dependent and being codependent and X, Y, and Z. And I think it always comes from a very helpful, loving place. Like, thank God, they're showing up. It's fantastic. Definitely. But it kind of becomes an identity, and the whole point is to try to move through the tunnel instead of being, like, I guess fixed, or like, this has to be how it is all the time, where, like, somebody's codependent on another person for existence. So I think it comes from a good place, though.
Definitely.
And I think you kind of get into it like, oops, here we are. Are we going to talk about there's another one that I see often, which is kind of like,
can you hold that for one thought?
Yeah, I'll hold it for a thought. You go.
Something I see with that community a lot too is, I'm okay if you're okay. So the checking in with the person who's going through the challenge isn't really authentic.
Like the anxious attachment.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you sweating? Are you this? Are you this? What can we do? And as opposed to saying, I'm great, I'm okay. Now, what can I overflow into your cup? How can I be here to support you? As opposed to, tell me 700 times that you're okay so that I know I'm okay. So I think the lesson for that community too is, go take care of your own shit. Be strong, be supportive, be there, and allow her to go through the initiation and the process that she's going through without you making it about you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good adult boundary work. You know, like at the end of the day, we're individuals working as a team, but we still need to be individuals and have our own space and stuff. What I was holding was the fixer.
Ooh,
dudes love fixing shit.
we love that shit.
Oh, I love it.
Love it.
Oh God, give me the
Anything I can
YouTube,
fix
give
right
me
now?
the YouTube video on how to fix this one, right? And let me tell you the harder things I've fixed in the past. Let me give you my fixing resume.
That is what I'm going to name this for my podcast, is How to Fix Your Menopausal Woman with Dr. Kelly Casperson. It'll be great.
AKA the broken goalie.
Yeah.
We'll get all the listens. But so there's like the fixer dudes, which we do. We love the fixer dudes. Like we love them. We need them. But like sometimes like perimenopause is a rough fucking road. No joke. But it is like a natural experience that we need to go. It doesn't actually need to be completely fixed. Now, if you're suffering and you need hormones, go get help. Yes. Right. I fix things. Like we like to fix things. But like it's not like it has to, like it's not like you're broken and have to be fixed though.
Yeah.
Like a certain way. And like, so I think the power of just presence and being there and listening and being like, I don't know what this is like at all, but like, I got your back. We're a team. Beautiful. Right? Like that person didn't just try to fix anything, but that person was there and present and saw them. Right. But like, you can do all that and you still don't have to fix it. It's okay if you don't fix it. And I think a lot of guys are like, it'll be better if I can fix it though. And it's like, not always. Yeah.
What's the swap out for them? Because I know when someone says don't do, it's really helpful to do. Is it to give them the idea?
Do you need me to fix something right now?
Ooh, okay.
Do you need me to fix something or just listen?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite questions.
Ah, it's so good.
Relationally, yeah.
It's so good. Because now you know what your assignment is, and guys are like, great, I got an assignment. Got it. Very good. And the woman's not trying to handle something that she didn't want in the first place.
Yeah. Is this a listening conversation or is this a fixing conversation?
Ooh.
1,000 times I've popped that question. And it's so good because as a dude, I'm like, cool. You just need me to listen? Amazing.
Right.
Got you.
You can do that.
I can do that. Look at these. Look at these. Like just blink my pretty little eye. You see that? Yeah, that's what I do. Everything gets fixed anyway. It's amazing.
It's awesome.
Kelly, do you find so the third archetype I work with a lot is the collapsed guy? Do you find in your practice, or have you experienced where women are showing up and saying, this just blew my guy out of the water. He just hit the bottom. He just zeroed out. He's done. He's collapsed. He's down in the basement, smoking pot, playing video games because he can't deal with the fact that I'm not taking care of everything. Is that an active archetype in menopause?
I don't want to say it's not.
Okay.
I haven't seen much of it. To me, I'm like, dude, check that guy's testosterone.
Okay. I'm sending everybody listening to this, go get your T levels checked. Okay.
Just saying, 10 to 20% of men have low testosterone. Like a screening test is, some people are advocating for it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
No, I don't know. I mean, tell us more about that guy. What's the woman saying? What's the guy saying?
Oftentimes what I have found is that's a relationship where the man is being mothered. And now that the mothering human is going, hi, I have to take the 100 units a day of love and care I was giving you, and I need them for me because I'm kind of feeling like I'm drowning, or I don't feel like myself. And that man's abandonment issues, mother wound, all that shit fires. And he just becomes a toddler who is going to lie down in the supermarket and have a tantrum and say, I give up. I can't deal with you. There's nothing I say that works, yada, yada, yada.
Bummer.
Yeah. And so I would say to that man, you got to grow the fuck up and then get real curious about why, when things aren't all about you, you disappear.
Let's see also heterosexual relationship, woman who mothers male partner. You don't have sexual desire for things you mother. So if you are being mothered by somebody, don't wonder why she doesn't want to sleep with you.
Yeah.
Is that too blunt, or is that perfectly blunt?
No. I remember doing an Instagram post a couple years ago that was like, your girlfriend, your therapist, your mother, one of these three wants to have sex with you, even if they're the same person, if it's the same person. So I'm with
There's
you.
a brilliant paper. This is a very old podcast episode that I did. And it's the heterosexual, the low desire challenges for women partnered with men. And one of them is mothering. It's like, we're not wired to want to sleep with the things we mother. Different project.
Yeah, completely different project.
People need to know that.
Can we transition from that into libido and sex and what's happening? So for men experiencing, can you just talk about the biology?
Yeah.
Like, is there a drop in libido? Is there an increase in libido?
Sometimes.
Tell us more.
That's me just jumping into rapid fire.
Yeah.
So we need hormones to have sex.
Okay.
All humans need hormones to have sex. You take a man's estrogen away, his sex drive goes down. You take his testosterone away, his penis doesn't work as well. His libido goes down, right? So all humans need hormones to have interest in sex. Now, again, not all. Some people go through menopause and don't replace their hormones and have fine sex lives. But common things are common. And what happens when female hormones go down, sex drive goes down, willingness goes down, pleasurable touch or interest in that goes down, responsiveness like blood flow, arousal, orgasm changes. It can become painful. The amount of years that go by before a woman will see a doctor about pain with sex. I mean, to me, I'm like, we gotta get in front of this problem. Because we never desire, people always say, I have two problems. I have low desire and I have pain with sex. And I was like taking problems away from people. So I'm like, you have one problem. You have pain with sex. You don't desire hitting your thumb with a hammer.
Right.
Like if it hurts, you aren't going to want it.
Right.
So I always like to take, like, we got to deal with the pain with sex. So vaginal estrogen, vaginal DHEA, lube, all good things. And this is everybody. As we age, our vascular system ages. The pumps, right? Our pumps get a little bit slower. So male erectile dysfunction, ejaculation problems, libido problems with women, orgasm problems, arousal problems, libido problems. And there's help available. Yes, we absolutely need more sexual health trained physicians. For the amount of people who want to have sex or are having sex, doctors are horrifically undertrained in this. But help is available. I see wins every single day. But again, just because we can't see hormones doesn't mean they aren't playing a profound role in our life. And one of those roles is sexual health.
Okay. How do you see this conversation working well? How do you see, I have an idea in my head of what men do that make it just more problematic or add an emotional shame, hurt layer to it. So even if the biology becomes righted, there's still anger, resentment, objectification that's happened, etc. How do you see this conversation first going well from the man's perspective? And I want to say first, just to honor that if suddenly there's a drop in libido in any relationship, that's going to be startling. And that will probably also open up a lot of older wounds around self-esteem, about desirability, etc. So I want to honor the man's experience here too, and not say, well, you're just supposed to have a huge drop in your woman's libido and go, that's nothing. Let me just get on with my day. So how do you see this conversation going well?
We aren't taught how to talk about sex when it's going well.
We're not taught. Okay.
Like, that was so great. Why was that great for you? What did you like about that? Would we do that again? Should we do it differently? Like, you want to do that exact same thing again? Like, just talking about like it being good, we're uncomfortable with. And then when shit hits the proverbial fan, we don't know how to talk about it when it's good. Right. So we're like, oh God, right? Like then we really don't talk about it. Team again, relationship, our sex life. I've noticed we get away from the you blame, right? It takes two people to have sex. A big one, this is big, and this is well documented in the data, the orgasm gap. So in a heterosexual relationship, loving, paired, together, know each other, best case, aka best case scenario,
Yeah.
the woman orgasms 60% of the time.
Mm.
So she's having less fun at the party, if we're using orgasm as a proxy for party.
Sure.
And where I'm going with this is, if it was not all that good to begin with,
Right.
and now you have pain, or now you have sleep issues, or now you have anxiety, or now you have I don't feel like myself, aka now you have perimenopause and menopause. Like, it's one thing when it was fabulous and the woman's like, that was fabulous, I need this back. But she's like, it was not that great to begin with. I can take it or leave it. Right. So a question I often ask in my office is, was it good to begin with? Because I can't make you desire moldy chicken.
Right.
Like, ooh, right. And so I think that's not talked about, because everybody assumes everybody's sex life was great. But then you have this heterosexual orgasm gap where you're like, studies show it's not that great for her a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Right. And so now you're upset that she doesn't want something that she didn't like that much in the first place. And that doesn't, this is a whole other podcast episode, but that doesn't mean women don't like sex. They just didn't like the sex they were having.
100%.
Right. Like, that's a big topic. So, but what sex means to me is XYZ.
Yeah.
Therefore, when we don't have it, I make it mean XYZ. You don't love me.
Yeah.
Are you interested in somebody else? Like, are we on the rocks? Am I unlovable? Did I do something to piss you off? Because I think sex means love.
Right.
But if you don't communicate what sex means to you, it might be, and I'm directly talking to the male in this scenario,
For sure.
sex might be assumed that it's just a physical need that is not really a problem, and you don't really need to get it from me anyways, instead of like, sex means you love me. So when we don't have sex, I'm feeling profoundly unlovable. Right. And so that all comes back to communicating. Like, are we communicating what sex means? Because when the sex isn't there, then somebody's like, well, wasn't that good to begin with? And then the other person's like, I'm unlovable. Right. And you're like, we need to talk about this.
Yeah. When you said you ask, how was it in your office? You said, I'll ask in my office, how was it? Are you just speaking to the female partner? Or are you often speaking to a couple?
Usually the female partner.
Just the female partner.
Yeah.
So guys listening to this, you have an opportunity right now to ask yourself, what does sex mean to you beyond the physical, beyond the friction, beyond the act itself? If there was a drop, and get vulnerable here, get really honest with yourself. I have a lot of men who come in and say, it means I'm not desirable anymore. Or I'm not desired by my partner. And there's a wound around that that's not quite societally acceptable. That as men, we're not supposed to be the desired ones. We're supposed to be the ones that desire the woman and go out and get her. And that's how we've set up the mating game here in the West. So I would invite you men listening to this, ask what's underneath sex, and then go one step even deeper. What does it mean to you at your core? And are you willing to then share with your female partner and perhaps say, this is what I really need? I know I've had this conversation, Kelly, a lot with men who say, I get it. She's going through something and we're not having a lot of sex. But what I did was say, would you remind me in the morning that you still think I'm really hot? And you're also going through this thing. And they're like, I'm good. I'm good when that happens. Like, I get a little pat on the butt, walking in the shower, like, you're super fucking hot. And like, thanks. And then the dude's off to the races, for the day. So
totally. And isn't that cool? You're like, oh, I thought putting a penis in a vagina meant putting a penis in a vagina. You're like, no. It actually means like that I'm lovable and I'm safe. And like, it's like all this other interesting stuff that you're like, oh, well, if we cuddle or we hold hands or we go out on a date or we go watch comedy together or we go dance or we go like so many people make everything stop because this one thing stopped instead of like, I can get X, Y, and Z in 4 different ways.
Right. I hope men listening to this got that. It's incumbent upon you, men listening, to say to your partner, this is what it means to me. and then present some options of this is what would feel really good in replacement of that. Like you said, can we watch a movie and cuddle? Can we hold hands? Can we do X, Y, and Z? And if you're going to tell me that the only thing you can do is have sex to scratch that itch or make you feel that way, I'm going to ask you to get more creative.
Nice. I talk about it like, I was talking to somebody very recently about this. I'm like, there's an aisle in the grocery store that you can't go down right now because either it hurts in that aisle or for whatever reason, you don't get to go down that aisle right now. It doesn't mean you throw out the entire grocery store. Like there are like 12 different aisles.
Yeah.
The fact that you're not aware that there's 12 different aisles doesn't mean there isn't 12 different aisles. Right? So don't throw out the grocery store.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a horrible analogy. I don't know, but it came to mind the other day. It's like,
it's
there's just one aisle you can't go down tonight. That's fine. You got 12 other aisles. Use them. Like, go explore them.
And talk about it. I think we can come back to over and over, communicate, and speak about what's happening for you. And speak as if you're sharing. I just want you to know my experience, and then listen to their experience. There's a lot of globalizing with men. This means that. There's a lot of doomsdaying or catastrophizing. That's it. She's going through this thing. We're never having sex again. And not vocalizing what's actually happening in the moment.
I mean, like, do you think about the midlife divorces, which is a very fascinating topic because a lot of people don't want to admit that, like, perimenopause and menopause is the third person in this room contributing to the divorce. And, you know, you're like, by the time you talk to the divorce lawyers, by the time they're in the divorce lawyer office, like, you're not getting a divorce just because a penis didn't go in a vagina.
Right.
Right? Like, but it was like, that's what, and it's like, yeah. But there's lots of people who have amazing relationships who explore all 12 aisles of the grocery store. And the penis can't go in the vagina anymore. They didn't get it. So it's like, it's everything, but it's not everything. It's a big, complex topic. Sure. But, you know, nobody goes up to the judge and is like, Judge, we would like to split these assets because a penis didn't go in a vagina.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's always so much more.
It's so much more. It's so much more. So you guys, this is this is a time. We say it's an initiation. An initiation has guides. An initiation has insights that you didn't have before. An initiation has opportunities to look at the world differently. How else can you create pleasure? How else can you experience pleasure? How else can you create closeness? How else can you experience closeness? Same with intimacy, the big scary I word. How do you as a man, how can you learn to receive from the other aisles in ways that feels almost as good because that aisle is closed at the moment?
And it doesn't mean the aisle's going to be closed forever.
It will if you like bang on the aisle the whole time and start yelling at it.
And you get pissed at the aisle and resentful of the aisle. And like, you just keep trying to ram your cart down the aisle. Like, it's not good.
We just need like an image of a guy like shouting down an aisle, open for me. Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Kelly, can we switch to real quick? What are some of the hormonal changes that are often happening in men around the same age? So I viewed this as I've seen a lot of couples where one person decides to get in shape, the other person decides to get in shape. One person decides to change their diet, the other person decides to change their diet, and they're both better for it. So if this is happening to you on a grander scale, or happening to women on a grander scale or larger scale, what are the opportunities there for men around their health and hormones at this age as well?
Sleep.
Or this stage, rather. Sleep,
exercise, muscles, lean body mass, stop alcohol, stop drugs.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just so incredibly optimistic that we call this midlife, you know, but it really is like, this is the initiation for everybody of like, either my parents are passed or you're watching your parents age properly. What do I mean by that? Successfully, whatever that might mean for you, or poorly. And everything we do in midlife, and call midlife whatever you want, 35, 55, whatever you want to call midlife, right? It's optimistic. We call this mid, knowing what we know now about the 1900s and dying of infection by 47. So what we do now is what gets us to be that person when they're 82 functioning like they want to function. And I think this like, well, she needs to clean everything up and exercise because it's like, bro, you do too. Right? Like, lean body mass is incredibly important. Metabolic health, incredibly important. Like your penis depends upon your metabolic health. Your penis depends upon your cardiovascular health. Your penis
Can we
depends
hold
upon...
one sec, because we're talking about penises, and so this is super important. For someone who doesn't know what metabolic health means, what does that mean?
Don't eat too much sugar. Don't get diabetes. Like most diabetes is preventable.
Are you talking about weight gain? Are you talking about hormones?
Too many carbohydrates.
So
there can be skinny people with like diabetes and metabolic issues. And basically what they mean by metabolic health is too much sugar in your bloodstream. Like too much sugar is toxic. Can create weight gain, but can also create liver issues, cardiovascular issues, brain health long-term, erectile dysfunction. The rate of erectile dysfunction with diabetes skyrockets and is stubborn to treat.
Okay.
So that's what when they say metabolic health, they usually mean blood glucose.
Gotcha.
Insulin resistance. Sometimes obesity, but you could be skinny and metabolically unhealthy.
So you're saying metabolic hits the penis, cardiovascular hits the penis.
Alcohol hits the penis, stress hits the penis, not sleeping hits the penis. Yeah. Like the penis is just a canary in the coal mine. Like people should be stoked. If you've got solid erections at 50, like good on you, right? Like people should be more, why are you people more proud of that? Like good on you.
As soon as we end the podcast, I'm going to go tell all my neighbors, but
your erection's good, bro. Yeah, they're good. Okay. Awesome. Happy for you. It's good. It's a good week.
You can go high five people down the street. Guess who's 50? Guess what I just heard on a podcast?
Pump still pumping? Great. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I think we should talk about female erections more too. That was like erections feel fantastic, and we don't even talk about women having erections. They feel fantastic. Women, lady boners, fantastic things. Like we're all built the same.
Yeah.
And you know how joyously we talk about like, hey, healthy penises, but it's like clitorises are the exact same thing. Like same thing matters to clitorises, right? Like metabolic health, you got to exercise, heart health, you know, sleeping, stress, all that. It's like. It's no different for women just because it's researched way less.
Yeah. Can we give this to men? I would love to give this to men as there's a real call to action here. There's a real opportunity that you get to look in the mirror and say, am I the weight I want to be? Am I sleeping the way I want to be sleeping? Is my erection the way I want it? Is my emotional state? Am I mature enough to be with this person?
Do you desire you?
I'm just going to hold a pause.
Yeah. Did we glitch? No, we're just pausing for effect.
Pregnant pause. And what are the areas you would you want to sleep right with you can clean up? Yeah. How many mirrors do you have in your... I'm sorry. That was personal.
I was like, is this like a Blink 182 song? It's like, I just have this song in my head for this whole podcast of like, well, I guess this is growing up. That's a Blink 182 song. Like, I guess this is growing up.
Yeah. I view this as such an opportunity for maturation for men.
Oh, even it's so badass. It's so wild. Like, right? Who doesn't want to be mature and wise?
Right.
And have gone through life's journey knowing you were awake for it and you did your best and you showed up. And you didn't die when you had hard conversations. Like, that's the whole thing about the conversation thing is like, guess what? You won't die. I promise you. Nobody's like, they died because they discussed something difficult. Yeah. Like, you're not going to die.
It's going to feel like you're going to die.
You're going to feel like you're going to die. But there's like this sense of elation afterwards, like, didn't die.
It didn't
die. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I would love to close. Is there anything else you would like to share with men or ask of men or ask men before we give them a solid CTA here?
Let's just have a seemingly random, but not so random shout out for lube with sex and vibrators.
Okay.
Do not be afraid of them. It does not mean she's not aroused or turned on. It does not mean she doesn't love you. We love technology in our life. I have 3 vibrators for my effing mouth at this point because it works better than my hand in a tree branch, right? Like, let's not be afraid of vibrators. Pleasure is everybody's job. Yeah. And the more pleasure she has and the more she feels safe. Oh God, we need to do an entire podcast about safety in sex. But like, the more she feels safe and pleasurable, the more she'll show up to the party. So I see a lot of like, I'm worried about what my partner's going to think about the vibrator and blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, the more you orgasm, like winner, chicken dinner. Like love her orgasm, support her orgasm, prioritize her orgasm. If you want her to show up to the party, make sure it's a freaking good party.
Yeah.
And the party doesn't always need to be putting something hard into a dark hole.
100%. I'll even add, the deeper she'll go at the party. And if you want to take someone on a ride and have them experience things that are otherworldly or out of consciousness or other consciousness, that's going to be a couple orgasms deep. And you,
I guess this is growing up,
right? You getting to be there for that, guys, and not be responsible for it, but guide and facilitate that is a really fucking cool feeling. And it goes a lot deeper the next morning and the next day, and the impact on that person's life beyond like, yeah, cool, then we got off a bunch of times. It literally will change someone to their core. Great shout out. Kelly, what is one conversation, if you have some men listening to this, their partners are in menopause, in perimenopause, what is one conversation you would ask them to have this week after listening to this podcast?
Tell me something you don't know about me, or like, tell me something that you don't think I know about you. Just like have some fun.
Yeah.
Because especially in like long-term committed monogamous relationships, we're like, I know them. No, you don't. Like you don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, get curious about stuff like that. That's cool. You know, like brains love monotony and routine and stability. And then brains also hate that. Right. And so it's like, okay, keep it. If what you want is a long-term committed monogamous relationship, keep it entertaining.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you. Can we talk very quickly? I know you're a doctor. How is it helpful to have the male partner involved in conversations with the doctor? And maybe what are some ways that it's not helpful to have him involved?
Yeah, I just had a patient, so female patient, she was having an issue for like 2 years. She saw multiple doctors and finally traveled out of state to go to this other doctor to try to help. And her husband came with, and he advocated for her in a way and actually like helped, because he was like, hey, could we just X, Y, and Z? And like, there is a level of, if you want to believe it or not, it doesn't make it not real. There's gender bias in medicine.
For sure.
There is power in a man saying something like that. Welcome to 2026. If you're not awake, here we are. So there is some power in that for the guy to be like, hey, can we blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
Right. Like, men just get questioned less when they're in the doctor's office, of like, when they say like, it's this bad, people are like, oh, it's that bad, you know? And when women are like, it's this bad, we're like, is it? But is it? Right. So I think showing up sometimes as an advocate can be profoundly helpful.
Yeah.
And then, so I would say, yes, absolutely. Especially if you're like, God, are we getting anywhere with this? Like, you know, but not in an angry way, but in like an advocacy way. Could we just check X, Y, and Z? Right.
Yeah.
We always want to keep team with doctors. So, but sometimes I think a woman doesn't feel comfortable telling the whole story, right? Because the relationship might not be fully open to communicating in X, Y, and Z. So it's like, if they're there all the time, I can kind of tell there's a part of the story I might not know.
Okay. I think that's a really important thing to say.
So I wouldn't make it be like, you need to be there all the time. Like, no. But if you have that gut feeling of like, I think I just might need to show up today or show my support. You know, I have patients, and then like, we hang out, and I know them for like a year or two, and then they bring in their partner, and I'm like, what fun is this? Like, this was fantastic. Like, you're Michael, like, awesome. You know, because I have that sort of relationship with people. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to get to meet the person. So I don't know. I guess it's it depends.
Okay. I'll share for guys listening. I remember going to the emergency room with my ex-wife, and she was having a miscarriage, and all of the staff was male and wanted to inject something. You probably know what this is. Maybe it was an ectopic. They thought it was ectopic. And so they were going to give her something that was going to flush out her system, but it was really, really toxic to where they couldn't even have a woman do the injection itself. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay. long story short, she was like, I don't think I want this. And the male doctor and the male attending came back in and were like, if you don't do this and you have a problem, the insurance company will not cover it. So we recommend you do it. And I remember saying, she needs 5 minutes to sit with this before she does anything. So I need you guys to step outside. And just that was enough for her to go, I don't want this. I really don't want this. When they come back in here, can we tell them we're not doing it? And I think had I not been there, the bullying, this is 3 o'clock in the morning. She's going through a bunch of shit.
And the power dynamics.
I will validate that me just standing up and saying, gentlemen, you're an MD and you're not, but everybody get the fuck out. She's going to go sit with her gut for 5 minutes was really, really profound. And I'm grateful that we didn't take it.
Yep. Yeah. I love that.
Anything else you would leave the male audience about this entire journey? Like, this is the work of your life. So you're deep in the trenches. I work with men, but not around this particular issue. If we gave you the billboard or whatever the magic, end of podcast saying you could only leave one message or
take care of your goalie. Watch out for that aisle. Be kind. That's what it would be. Be kind. Like, we're all just all humans trying to human.
Yeah.
And if you can find the spiritual journey in this, man, you're winning. Like, you are winning on that. And if that sounds like completely woo, welcome to the beginning of the tunnel. Right? Yeah. So that's what I would say. Be kind. And if you get to find the spiritual in the somebody's like, we're dead for so much longer than we're alive.
I love that.
Right? And you're just like, oh, this is precious.
Yeah, it is.
And communication, and this is coming from a surgeon, so I've had a lot of learning. It takes a long time, and it's not clean. It's like, there's a lot of but it's better than not communicating.
Yeah. And I'll say to you guys that so much of what's said in the masculine culture is, we're here to protect, we're here to provide. Here is your opportunity to actually show up for your partner with so much presence. That is all the root of what's required of you. I'll echo what Dr. Casperson said of, this is a real opportunity to have kindness. This is a real opportunity to literally tap into a part of yourself that may not have been alive before in the relationship. And that is just unwavering support and presence, because it is her time of going through the transition. But if you stay present with it, you naturally will go on a very similar ride. And I hope you all find the spiritual part of it, because I think that is the greatest part of this midlife journey.
I love it. Just to share an example, my husband's like, Kelly, I want to grow old with you. I want to grow old with you. And you're just like, bring it on. Right? Yeah. Like, let's just get great emotional together. I know. You're like, let's try to keep as many muscles as we can, but let's get great. Yeah. Like, let's do it.
I'll leave the guys with this. My buddy Jeremy operates on Instagram as long distance love bombs, says, like, treat people like you want them to stick around.
Oh,
a very helpful way of putting it. So here's the opportunity. For my audience, Kelly, for people who don't know you, where can they find you? Where can they find more of you? Where can they get your books and listen to your podcast?
Yeah, thank you. So my books are The Menopause Moment and You Are Not Broken. The You Are Not Broken is the first one. It's more about female sexuality. It's fantastic. It's a light weekend read. And not being ironic, it truly is. I podcast at You Are Not Broken, and I love hanging out on Instagram at Kelly Casperson MD.
Beautiful. And you all can find me at manuncivilized.com or at Traver Boehm on Instagram, TraverBoehm. And you can also hear my great conversation with Dr. Casperson on the Uncivilized podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining. Kelly, it's always a pleasure.
So fun.